In one of my recent videos, I went over a few reasons why you shouldn't become a software engineer. And if you haven't watched the video, I recommend you do. In this video, we're gonna go over the reasons why you might want to consider becoming a software engineer. It's kind of an ordered list from the least important to the most important in the end of the video. So please use timestamps if you are only interested in one of them. So the first one that I'm gonna mention is attention to details. And the reason I named it the least important is because you can mitigate this. You can write tests, you can have checklists, you can have other people, actually you should have other people double checking your work. I can say for sure it's not one of my strengths. I did enjoy working with people who are very attentive to details because they complement my abilities. But yeah, this is just something to keep in mind. And next, it might be good if you can cope well with stress. As I highlighted multiple times in my why you shouldn't become a software engineer video, stress and mental load is a huge part of the work. If you're already good at handling it, this is very good for your career. I have to say it's somewhat more common for beginners and junior developers to be more stable and stress resilient, because with time you do get experience, you do get exposure, but you also get tired and burnout, and you get all kinds of other obligations outside of work. So do use this in the beginning of your career. Try to move as far as you can using the energy that you still have. And if you're already a seasoned professional in some other area who's moving on to software engineering and you already know that you're very good at stressful situations, consider this profession because this is a very good quality. Number 3, math and logic. Again, this is not very high on my list. It's not a per se requirement, especially if you're going to web development and you're gonna position buttons on a web page. But overall, especially if you're looking at specialties that is not a web development, then things like linear algebra or geometry or even physics might be a huge asset. Next, if you know when you don't know and you can admit it and you can work with it, if you can adapt to new environments, new changing requirements. If you're good at working with uncertainty and unknowns, asking for help, searching for information, and overall admitting to yourself that this is an unknown area and you'll have to invest more time learning how it works, this is gonna propel your career a lot. This is the quality that a lot of us are missing. I would say that working with uncertainties is one of the most difficult part of the job because it's just not very common for humans to work every day with unknown territory. It is very difficult for your brain, but I know that there are people who enjoy that. And if you're one of those people, you might consider this profession. And now we're moving on to the territory that is not often talked about, especially when you're choosing your career. But I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions around it, so I put it pretty high on the list. So the next one is empathy. I know that it's a bit sudden, especially after math and physics and uncertainties, but empathy is a huge part of our work because we are building very complex and very big projects. Projects that you usually don't build alone. You're working with other people, and it doesn't mean just using the pieces that they've built to build your own piece. It means constantly looking at their work, criticizing their work, and trying to improve the thing together. And if you are lacking empathy, lacking understanding of how other people work and why it is not that nice to tell somebody in their pull request that it sucks, then you might have problems building trust and good relationship in your team, which would lead to a broken product. And if you think that this is common sense, you've been very lucky and you've never received a comment like, this is very bad, this is not how you're supposed to do it, maybe try reading documentation once in your life. That's true story. Okay, next is communication. And you might say, hey, isn't it the same as empathy? But not exactly. I keep saying that one of the best books that helped me in my career was a book about negotiating with terrorists. And while this is a joke, it is also completely true. Negotiations are not just important for your salary, it's also important on a daily basis. because you have to make a lot of decisions, and then you have to persuade other people that your decisions are good and based on some research or logic or whatever reasons you might have. Or if you cannot tell them in a very empathetic and nice manner that their ideas are not the best that you can implement, then you'll be forced to work with a very bad code. And at the top of my list is the quality that I look for in every intern or beginner or even just a colleague that I work with. It's curiosity. Now, not everybody's passionate about their job. Some people are just doing it for money, and this is completely fine. But if you're curious about what you do, you're always going to go an extra mile just because you want to. It does make you a better programmer. I did not include passion in this list for the sole reason that it's very good to be passionate about your craft. It helps, but it can also lead to a burnout and a lot of disappointment. So instead, curiosity is a quality that is more mild, but it still helps a lot. So those were the traits, the reasons you might consider software engineering as a career for you. Let me know in the comments below if I forgot some very important traits. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.